What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Seth the Lawn Surgeon. This video is about how I got started in lawn care. I've made a lot of videos, like over 100 videos, and I've never actually sat down and made a video about how I actually started doing lawn care. And the reason I want to do this is, I'm not one of those guys that make motivational videos because I feel like I don't have enough experience to be motivating anybody, but I guess my story could help people who are just starting out and who don't have a lot of equipment, see that you don't have to go out and buy a lot of big equipment just to start a lawn care business. You don't have to have a lot of experience to go out and start a lawn care business. All you need is a will, and then you can make a way. Anyway, rewind back to 2007. 2007, I bought my house. First thing I went out and bought was a Poland leaf blower. Y'all might have seen this in my old videos. The Craftsman yard vac doing work. I was using it in that. But that was my first. It was $99. I bought it. That was the best thing I ever bought. Well, not ever bought, but one of the best things. Anyway, I bought that. My dad's friend gave me a free Murray 20-inch push mower, and I had that, and I used to cut the yard. I didn't have no weed eater, didn't have nothing. So 2009, that's when I got my Craftsman. Got my Craftsman yard vac. So I had that. Mind you, no, I had no aspirations or no intuition that I might be getting into the lawn care business. So I got the leaf blower because, I got the leaf blower and I got the yard vac because I got a lot of trees in my yard. I need to get up some leaves. And I used to just get them up and I put them in my trash can and they come pick them up every week. I didn't have no truck, no trailer, no nothing. So anyway, I went and, actually my parents, they bought me a trailer. It was a 4x6 trailer, small trailer. All I needed was something to haul leaves to the dump. I put those wood sides on it, and that's what I did. I used my Dodge Magnum, and I hauled leaves to the dump. All right, now fast forward to 2012. My uncle got sick, and my dad said, "Hey, can you come over and cut his grass?" So I said, "Sure." So I put my 20-inch Murray, which I still had, push mower, and I went over there. I didn't have no weed eater or nothing. I went over there and I just push mowed his yard. As I was in his yard, I noticed that there's a lot of other people that needed that grass cut. So I said, "Hey, why don't I cut it? Why don't I put some flyers out?" So I went home that same day. I already knew how to, I had a little graphic design background, so I made some flyers. And so I went and handed them out the next day. And the day after that, somebody called me and said, "Hey, can you come and cut my grass?" And lucky for me, while I was waiting for somebody to call me, I've been researching weed eaters. Because like I said, I didn't even have a weed eater. I used to just cut my yard. And I used to just treat it. I didn't really weed eat it. And so I got this weed eater. My dad has it. I don't even know the name brand of it. It's $40 and I got it off Craigslist. I had that weed eater, I had my push mower, and I went and cut this lady's yard for $30. That was my first cut. So I went to cut a yard for $30, and that was the start of my business. You know what I mean? I didn't really consider it a business at the time. At the time, I was considered I was just trying to make a little extra money on the side. You know what I mean? Because I would try to treat my yard, but I wouldn't have enough money to actually, you know, treat it like it needed to be treated. And so I said maybe I could make enough money to treat it, and then also I'll have some money for my pocket and for the household. And so after that year, basically, I had my Murray and I had that little bootleg weed eater. And then I pushed more a few yards, and I'm like, I need to get a riding mower. So I went online. I didn't have any knowledge about riding mowers or what's the newest thing, and I bought this Murray, which I bought it for $400, which I probably overpaid for it. And I later found out there was a '94 Murray, '94, and this is 2012, and I paid $400 for it. But it's one of the best ride mowers. I mean, one of the best ride mowers for me for to start my business because it was hydrostatic and I could back up and I could cut with it. If y'all know a lot of the newer model lawnmowers, you can't back up and cut with them because I guess somebody backed over a dog or a little kid or something. So they made regulations that when you back up, the blades can't be moving. Anyway, yeah. So that was my first year. My little bootleg weed eater, my Murray, and my Murray Pushmore, and my Murray Rider. Then later on in that year, my uncle gave me his Yardman Pushmore. And then I went out and I said, I just need to buy a weed eater. And I bought a Troy Belt curve shaft weed eater. So that was the start of my business, 2012. Uh, I had a '94 Murray, 42-inch, a, a curve shaft Troy Belt weed eater, and a 21-inch Yardman Pushmore. And I think I might have a picture of that equipment if I could find it. Hopefully I can find it. I'll put it right there. But yeah, that was the start of my business, 2012. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't really consider a business to the end of the year. And then at the beginning of 2013, that's when I was like, I realized how much I loved cutting grass. And I really needed to turn this into an actual business. So that's when I said I need to take this seriously. I need to get all um, my licenses, my insurances, and everything like that I need to actually have a business if I'm gonna take this seriously. And that's when I created my YouTube page. Which I'll make another video about my how why I created my YouTube page. But yeah, that's when I created my YouTube page, and I said this year I'm gonna go hard, and I'm gonna try to, you know, improve myself. So at the beginning of that year, I ended up going from a 4x6 trailer to a 5x8 trailer. And then later that year in June 2013, I ended up going from my '94 Murray, and I got my 2013 uh, Troy Bill Mustang. Boom. And I also got that year the Troy Bill Heavy Duty Weed Eater. And that year was fantastic. I more than doubled what I made the first year. And I was ecstatic. And so now this year, 2014, I said I gotta double that. And so I had to make some improvements. This year, I got my 2001 Chevy Astro van. I got my backpack blower, Husqvarna 150 BT, and what else I got? Oh, Shindawa T344. I got that. And I got oh my gosh, the best thing I ever got, my Time Master. I got my Toro Time Master. So that's basically how I improved my um, company this year. And that's basically how I started my business. So I mean, that's the reason I made this video. It wasn't just to go over my equipment. It was to basically say, like, you don't have to start out with a whole bunch of fancy equipment. You don't have to start out with, all the best equipment. Start out with what you can. Don't let people say, oh, you know, you're some shabby lawn care business, and you're making other lawn care businesses look bad. At some point, they were a shabby lawn care business, and if they weren't, they probably had parents or something that gave them money to get some fancy equipment. All businesses start from the bottom, and when you start from the bottom, it teaches you morals, and it teaches you how to be a better business when you get big. So, like I said, thanks for watching. um, I'm gonna try to make some more of these kind of videos because it's winter time. Not gonna be doing much other than getting up leaves. So I'm gonna try to keep in contact with y'all. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching. Yes, sir.